Welcome to the fish room at CoralVue. So it's not your typical fish room because it was designed to be a showcase for David's product line. So it's a little fancier than one would typically expect. So I'm going to climb down and I'll show you little things here and there and give you a little tour. So over here, these are quarantine systems. The initial intention was coral quarantine, coral acclimate. We would gradually acclimate it with a full water change over several days to the water that's in the main display before moving specimens in, so there's no shock whatsoever. This gigantic Biota Duracic clam that was several inches smaller when I got it for David was originally up in the refugium. But if anyone is familiar with large clams, clams fart and spray water everywhere. So because the refugium is relatively shallow and it had grown so much, it was showering the lights, the mangroves, the light wall, the equipment, everything with salt water. So this is his permanent home now, until we're willing to take a chance that the emperor in the main display won't make lunch out of it. Individual systems, individual hydros control on both of them, one on each side. This is fish quarantine, removable partitions, so you have 5 separate tanks. This is very simple. It pumps through 3 90-watt UVs, which were Frankensteined by me, into a single S-curve ultraviolet sterilizer. The fans are controlled by hydros, automatic top-off individually for each system. Just one Orphec OR bar up here, Coral Cares below. And then, again, as I said, individual hydros. This is the hydros control for the main display. We built this a while back. When this was designed, the new Kraken had not come out yet, so this is the original prototype. We have the 2 Abyss A400 controllers, which are the main returns for the main display. One of them goes directly back to the display on this end, and then the other one goes to a 1.5 horsepower chiller all the way out on the opposite side of the building, a total of about 150 feet away, back and out again. The panel is fully removable. We do have an iPad that goes here so that we have constant display of what's going on in the system. All of the support structures for the sump, the refugium, all of this are from a company called Framing Tech. Send them the specs, they cut them, they send them to you. Really great people to work with. Always been very happy with what they've done for us. Back here, in this little cubby, and this is one of the reasons why we had to push the tank out into the lobby, was so that we could accommodate this calcium reactor. And this is, as you can see, it sits on a tray that's fully extendable. So it's really easy to maintain, add more media, change media, etc., do maintenance. And if you look behind it, you can see the plumbing runs from the main display to the sump. This is the new Hydros X10, along with their IV alkalinity. Big CO2 container, of course, with a carbon doser on it. And then underneath the stand, these are 2 200-gallon vats for bulk water storage. They are on wheels, so you can pull them out. One of them, they can either both be used for salt water. One of them is just used for freshwater storage as backup, but there is a 16-inch diameter manhole in each of these, so you just put a box atop, open it, dump it in, no mess, no scooping. Mixing is accomplished with 2 big gyre pumps, and then transfers with a couple of Varios 8s. These are more of the hydros control systems. These are all linked into the single collective. One's here, The Babels up on the wall that control all 12 of the coral cares, those are all linked into a single collective, a single system. Back here as well, we have a couple of the largest Ice Cap Pro algae turf scrubbers. Algae turf scrubbers were originally developed by Dr. Walter Adey in 1990, and that work was published in his book, Dynamic Aquaria, along with Karen Loveland. And the design was significantly different than what we have here. It employed trays, and a dump bucket created the surge across the algae. So this technology has been in existence for quite a long time. And there are various products on the market. They all serve the same purpose of uptaking nutrients as the algae grows. You harvest it for nutrient export. Many of you use these on your tanks. I've been using them since 1991. Because no commercial products were available at the time, I had Dennis Teen at Acrylic Creations out in Kenner build me a couple of dump buckets for my algae turf scrubber and for a surge device in the 90-gallon aquarium that I set up to mimic the microcosm. XPE 8000, their largest non-commercial skimmer. I'm standing 2 feet away from it and I can smell it from here. It's incredibly effective and very nauseating when you clean it. So that is an example of a very effective skimmer. These are the drains from the refugium, one on each end. They have Dursos just to keep them a little bit quieter. One is run at full siphon, so you don't have a bunch of gurgling and burping. They go into here, and the stands that these sit on are drip trays, and underneath them are a couple of the export bricks from Brightwell Aquatics. So one is submerged, one is up in open air. As far as control, we have ballast down here. These are the controllers for both the skimmer feed pump. This is a vacuum receptacle. This is designed so that it'll go around the 8-inch wide perimeter brace on the tank, and we can get in and get all the dead snails and detritus and whatnot along that back edge. It attaches with silicone tubing this location before the socks and the sump. The sump, David had already had designed by Reef Octopus, and the idea was David is the same height as I am, he's 6'2". So we wanted to design a system that made it easier to work. Anybody that has a reef tank with a sump underneath it knows what it's like to crawl around on the floor, reaching and bending unsupported in a tiny cabinet that's full of equipment. This way, you don't even bend. Everything is at the perfect height. All the shelves are at 42 inches, which is a little bit above architectural standard for countertops, but it's designed for David specifically, which was easy for me because I'm the same height. The hangers were custom made by Dennis at Acrylic Creations, the pipe clamps here. These are a couple of Reef Octopus biopellet reactors that we converted into use for carbon. They sit on stands also from Dennis. Really simple. They just tee off of the skimmer supply feed, which is also a Varios 8. That runs at 100% and then supplies these as well. Automatic top-off, combination of a feed from the reservoir, the freshwater reservoir, into this reservoir. And then there is a hydros ATO mechanism in here that controls the flow from the reservoir into the tank itself or into the sump. The light box was designed by me and fabricated by 3Form. It's a translucent resin material full of LEDs with the Reef Octopus logo. The lights themselves are tunable LED. They can be tuned from 2700 to 6500 degrees Kelvin, and they're fully dimmable from 0 to 100%. We wanted enough light in here to allow it to be an effective and efficient and well-lit work area, but I also didn't want just your standard warehouse bay lights. Just too common. And then the walls themselves, there's several layers. So you have the basic wood framing, and then on top of that, OSB, and then on top of that, a product called Magnesia Core, which is similar to a combination between hardy board and drywall, but it is outdoor rated, so it's completely inert to moisture. And then on top of that, after the OSB was waterproofed fully, the entire room, we added more of the 3-form resin. Below 4 feet, as you can see, we also have good old FRP. This is the same stuff you find in commercial kitchens, except black is so much cooler than white. Nice high gloss baseboards, which you never really see. This is more of the 3-form resin material on the cabinets. The countertop material is Vitrazzo. They've got really cool stuff, a bunch of different colors, but this worked well with the Reef Octopus colors. So we went for the red because it's so subtle. And a nice fireclay sink, Kohler fixtures, and it's designed, this whole room, the floor is epoxied, dry deck on top of that, so you're never standing in water. But it's a little dirty right now, sorry. But the room itself is sealed. So if there is a catastrophic spill, it will go down this 6-inch floor drain underneath the sump, and you don't have to worry about it flooding the entire building. In addition, for water changes, we have a 63 millimeter drain line here that goes directly into the floor drain. So to facilitate a water change, you turn on the transfer pump in the saltwater barrel, open the valve just before the drain chamber, open this drain. You can empty that tank in about 7.5 minutes without lifting a finger. 200 gallons of water change like that. The stand itself, as I mentioned previously, this is all structural fiberglass. It's exactly the same material that's used on oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico, or anywhere else for that matter. It was shipped here in pieces, and we put it together in the warehouse and then brought it in here and slipped it in. There is exactly a 1/2 inch clearance on each end of this stand. So it was very much threading a needle getting it in here. We wanted to have the access, the ability to remove the access ladder, get it out of the way, but we also needed to maximize the space for the quarantine tank. So as you can see, our tolerances in here are quite close. And then locked in place out of the way, so you can get to the huge UV that we shoehorned into this corner. That runs constantly, helps with water clarity and minimizing the likelihood of any disease spread. Diseases are always going to be introduced either through coral specimens or fish, but this helps to minimize the likelihood that they'll turn into a major outbreak. Heating is accomplished in the wintertime through an inline heater, 1200 watts from Aqualogic. And we're in the process of adding a Kalkwasser reactor that will help to control pH in all 4 systems, the main, coral quarantine, coral acclimate, and the fish. Also up here you may have seen we have a commercial dehumidifier that significantly reduces the amount of moisture. That drains into a drain line into the wall that goes into the main drain from the AC system. We also have a exhaust fan, 750 CFMs up there, that just helps to control the heat and humidity as well. It's activated by a hygrometer, so it's controlled by humidity, not temperature. The spotlights at the ceiling, those are two 250 watt, 5K, 5,000 degree Kelvin LED spotlight bulbs, and those are specifically for the Julian sprung mangroves in the refugium. So once again, this is Sam with Wetwork, and thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.